Hello, my beautiful friends. It is an amazing day. It is the final day before Thanksgiving is upon us, and we're very grateful that you're here and with us. We've got some business to attend to before the holiday is here, and let's do a little bit of a preview on what's coming up before we jump into it. You may have heard about this bomb scare situation that's happening out there. Caroline Leavitt, the new spokeswoman for the campaign, posted this for us, that there is a conspiracy, some sort of a coordinated attack that is being launched on all of the Trump appointees, not all of them, but 12 of them at least. A dozen people have gotten threats that sound like this. Okay, this is what Elise Stefanik said, that they released a statement. There was a bomb threat at their house. We got Lee Zeldin, got one. He's in New York as well. We got Scott Turner is explaining what happened to him. And so we'll go through it, but all said and done, there were about 12 people, nearly a dozen people, who all got hit with one of these scares or attacks. It's curious. I wonder where all those FBI agents are. Someone has to have tabs on guys like Ray Epps, who we'll talk about coming up, because Ray Epps lost his case today. He was suing Fox News. You remember Ray Epps, seen here, a star of January 6th, who got away with a little tiny misdemeanor, didn't even have to show up in court, never got his house raided or spent time in custody because he got to zoom in and participate on this. But here, Ray Epps lost his suit. You can see very short order that came down from the court today saying that Fox News wins. And I got some thoughts on this, because Fox News could have had this same defense with Tucker Carlson, but they didn't do that because they'd rather pay out $700 million and then blame Tucker for that. They could have defended him, but they didn't. So it was a short order, but the judge explained herself. Her name is Jennifer Hall. She explained what happened, and the New York Times was there inside the courtroom, and so we'll see what they said about it. We've also got their motion to dismiss, so we'll just do the highlights on what Fox said was the basis for why Ray Epps should fail. And this same argument should apply to Tucker Carlson, but they needed an excuse to get rid of Tucker Carlson, and they were going to pay $800 million as a fake excuse to do that. So we'll see what happened there. And then we'll see if Ray Epps and his people had anything to say about this. There's Ray Epps. There he is. And his people have no comment about this, but we'll see what happened on that case. And there's more, because Trump also, there was a man in Arizona who got arrested today, and I've not seen the charging documents yet. I think it's just breaking news, and they haven't published anything, and it hasn't hit the local dockets yet. But I believe it's in federal court. And so he got arrested today, posted a bunch of videos brandishing weapons, and he was here at a Trump rally in Arizona. Okay, an Arizona man. Now, I think this was the rally that we didn't get into. I don't want to talk about it. But I think he was there at that one rally. We got into the other rally. Okay, we learned our lesson the first time, but we got in the second time. That's how much enthusiasm there was for El Presidente. And apparently this guy's out, wanted to take him out. So the media came and are reporting on his arrest. The charging documents say they refer to Trump as individual one, but he's talking about the president-elect. So obviously, good news that they rounded him up. But I don't know what the problem is. I don't know where all these crazy people keep coming from. I don't know where they're getting this brainwashing from. Could it be from the mainstream media and the Democratic Party? I think so. All right. And so, as you can see, my friends, we got some good stuff to get to today. It is a beautiful day, and we're glad that you're here and with us. Before we jump into the business that we need to attend to today, one of the things we got to do is get prepared. And one way we can get prepared is with our friends over at The Wellness Company, my friends, because today we're speaking to grandfathers, husbands, dads, anybody in between, saying that in moments of emergency, we got to be prepared. We don't want to be caught flat-footed, whether it's a natural disaster, whatever it is, floods, hurricanes, pandemics, COVIDs, whatever the situation is, we want to be prepared. That's why the Wellness Company has a field emergency kit, the most robust, personal, urgent medical care kit that's out there. And they've got a great sale this Black Friday. It's packed in an IP67 military-grade, waterproof, dust-proof case. Looks just like that. Built to save lives. Inside, there's a bunch of good stuff. You'll see things like antibiotics, antivirals, antiparasitics, pain relief stuff. Over 60 conditions covered. You'll be prepared. Each kit also comes with an 85-page medical guide written by the wellness company, their medical board, making sure you know how to handle this stuff step by step in case you need it. And so you can gear up with the Field Emergency Kit today. Get prepared in case the unexpected happens. You'll have your kit. This is a Rumble exclusive offer, limited quantities, and so you can shop now. You'll get $200 off when you go to twc.health/Robert. You'll use code RumbleSale. RumbleSale. Save 200 buckaroos. It's for U.S. residents only. Makes a great gift. And we'll have more from the wellness company. We appreciate them sponsoring today's show. We appreciate you getting prepared from our friends at the wellness company. All right. And now, without any further ado, we're wondering why we're not streaming on X right now. Just got an X warning. Wonder what that's all about. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, all right, so we've got some business here. Elon, hopefully Elon didn't ban us, but we're not on X right now for whatever reason. But here's the news of the day, my friends. Starting with this. Bomb threats and warnings and arrests against President Trump from Caroline Levitt. Sorry, let me do that again because I'm looking at Twitter. Why is this not working? I don't know. All right, so let's start. Anyways, we'll start. Here it is. Here's the segment. Bomb threats against Trump appointees now happening all over America. Nearly a dozen people reporting to Fox News and others that they're under attack. Seems like there's a conspiracy here to cause harm and maybe stop the peaceful transfer of power. Here's the statement from Caroline Levitt from the statement from Trump and Vance transitions team. They said the following. Last night and this morning, several of President Trump's cabinet nominees and administration appointees were targeted in violent, un-American threats to their lives and those who live with them. These attacks range from bomb threats to swatting. And in response, law enforcement and other authorities acted quickly to ensure the safety of those who were targeted. President Trump and the entire transition team are grateful for their swift action. Now, President Trump and the transition team are focused on doing the work of uniting our nation by ensuring a safe and prosperous future. With President Trump as our example, dangerous acts of intimidation and violence will not deter us. Signed by Caroline Levitt, Trump Vance transition spokeswoman. And you'll see that a bunch of people are reporting this. So that was the general statement from everybody. But there are individual reports that are popping up. This is Elise Stefanik, who has been nominated to be a part of the Trump team, the new administration, says Office of Chairwoman Stefanik released the following statement here. Says, this morning, Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, her husband, and their 3-year-old son were driving home to Saratoga County from Washington for Thanksgiving when they were informed of a bomb threat to their residence. New York State County law enforcement and U.S. Capitol Police responded immediately with the highest levels of professionalism. We are incredibly appreciative of the extraordinary dedication of law enforcement officers who keep our community safe 24/7. We want to share our best wishes to the upstate New York community for a happy and safe Thanksgiving. We are especially grateful to our law enforcement officers and military families who are on duty over the holiday season. So not great, right? You don't want bomb threats going to anybody. And this is happening to Trump political appointees in high numbers. Lee Zeldin, also a part of this transition team, says a pipe bomb threat targeting me and my family at our home today was sent in with a pro-Palestinian themed message. Oh, whether you believe that or not, it's interesting. They're introducing a dynamic. Who's calling that in? All right. You know, it could be legitimate, it could not be legitimate. Well, who knows? My family and I were not at home at the time and are safe. We are working with law enforcement to learn more as this situation develops. We're thankful for the swift actions taken by local officers to keep our family, neighbors, and local community secure. From Lee Zeldin. Now, Scott Turner, also nominated, posted this. On the eve of Thanksgiving, my home was targeted by a bomb threat, as were the homes of several of my colleagues. There's a pattern here. There's a conspiracy here. Is this Antifa? Is this Liz Cheney? Where are those FBI agents? I'm grateful for the swift and professional response from local law enforcement in ensuring everyone's safety. Nothing will shake my resolve to serve in the Trump administration and bring much needed change to HUD. Housing and Urban Development, that agency that he'll be appointed to run. So the statement, as we saw, is from the president saying it's not just those three. In fact, it's a lot more. It was nearly a dozen of their nominees. Oh my goodness, what's happening? They were targeted. The attacks range from bomb threats to swatting. Sources told Fox News Digital that John Ratcliffe, the nominee to be the CIA director, also got hit with one. Wow. Pete Hegseth, nominee for Secretary of Defense, got a bomb threat. Elise Stefanik got one. UN Ambassador Brooke Rollins, who Trump has tapped to be the Secretary of Ag, Lee Zeldin, as we saw. EPA, they were also targeted. Local law enforcement officials responded. The FBI issued a statement on Wednesday. They're like, we didn't do it. We didn't do it. Probably. Did we do that? We did. Oh, we have no comment about this because sources and methods. We're investigating this. It's an open case. So we can't talk about it, right? Yeah, okay, we can't talk about it. So we'll let you know more as soon as our investigation's over. So the FBI issued a statement. Here's what they actually said. The FBI is aware of numerous bomb threats and swatting incidents targeting the incoming administration nominees and appointees. And we are working with our law enforcement partners, it said. We take all potential threats seriously and, as always, encourage members of the public to immediately report anything they consider suspicious to law enforcement. Can we call the FBI and report the FBI? You guys have a lot of problems in your agency. Can you do something about it? Levitt said Trump and his transition team are focused on the work ahead of them. Zeldin commented on it. Stefanik commented on it. Rollins commented on it. Said this morning, we learned a threat was issued against our home and our family, she wrote. Thanks to the swift efforts by Fort Worth PD, it's a national attack. We were unharmed and quickly returned home. Isn't this interesting? So somebody has the personal addresses of all of these people, like in a Rolodex or something. What if they wanted to go, like in a movie, like take them all out, like execute Order 66? They'll just get wiped out. Somebody's got all of their numbers like listed and is sophisticated enough to call in bomb threats to all of them and not have any fear of recourse at all. That's pretty interesting. I want to express my deep gratitude to the law enforcement officials who did their utmost in both speed and expertise to protect us as they protect our community every single day. Trump's pick for Labor Secretary, Lori Chavez, also got one. She said, last night my family and I were targeted with a pipe bomb threat at our Oregon home. Thanks to the quick response of the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office, we're safe. We deeply appreciate their dedication to protecting us. Now, local police also say that a family member of Matt Gaetz got one. We received notification of a bomb threat referencing Matt Gaetz's supposed mailbox in the Niceville area this morning, said the county sheriff. A family member resides at the address, but Gaetz is not a resident there. The mailbox was cleared. No devices were located. The immediate area was also searched with negative results. A White House spokesperson said in a statement, they said, the White House is in touch with federal law enforcement and the president-elect's team and continues to monitor the situation closely. Federal law enforcement's response alongside state and local authorities remains ongoing. The president and the administration unequivocally condemn threats of political violence. So then incoming border czar Tom Homan, he spoke with Fox News, said up until today, he'd not been taking the threats against himself and his family seriously, but now he's going to. The threats come after 2 other assassination attempts against Trump. And Ryan Ruth was writing letters to Politico that they didn't publish yesterday. So pathetic. Now, in addition to that, there's more because a man in Arizona was arrested for also making threats against President Trump, and he attended a rally here in Glendale, Arizona. Might have been outside when we were waiting in line together. Here's what the story says. An Arizona man who's been arrested after posting numerous videos online brandishing rifles, shotguns, high-capacity boom sticks while threatening to kill Trump and his children. Whoa. Manuel Tamayo Torres posted, quote, numerous lengthy videos on Facebook threatening Trump and his family. You're going to be eliminated. Your son's going to be eliminated, he said in a scary video posted on Thursday. He said your whole family is going to be eliminated. The reality for you now, this is the only reality you have in your future, being eliminated. The clip continued. Secret Service, FBI, CIA, and the military are all defenseless. Tomayo Torres was charged with making threats against the president-elect, who's referred to as Individual 1 in the court filings. In another video, he threatens to boom Trump before holding up what appears to be a boom stick with 30-round mags inserted into it. The officials also describe in the court filings how the Arizona man made threats on a near daily basis. Wow. Interesting. It's too bad this, they couldn't have this level of oversight on some of the other shooters who are also insane, like Ryan Ruth. Remember Ryan Ruth, who was like let in our country? Anyways, they got this guy before it escalated that far. Almost every day he posted videos where he talks about Trump and his family kidnapping and the trafficking of his children. What? Wow. So might just be a disturbed person. There's a lot of them. Even more shockingly, he appeared at a Trump campaign rally in August. And if you recall, we were there. I'm pretty sure we were there, but we didn't make it inside. That was August. Pretty sure. Maybe it was one before that or one after that. But I'm wondering if we were there in the vicinity of this madman. In the video, the man claims he observed Individual 1 and Secret Service kidnap his daughter there. All right, so he's just nuts. ATF claims that they discovered images on Facebook holding a verified arsenal of weaponry. He brandishes weapons, ATF claim in the court docs. Tomayo Torres was arrested in California after videos showed him around the San Diego area, though the charges were filed back in Arizona. This is just one of the latest threads of lunatic Democrats wanting to take out Trump. Trump thanked the Daily Mail for letting him know. They said, hey, Mr. President, they just arrested this dude. He's trying to take you out. Trump said, hell, really? Well, thank you for telling me. Then with a chuckle, Trump said, let's get out of here right now. It was a surprisingly chipper response just over a month after the first attempt. Hilarious. So they probably asked him, person, hey, Mr. Trump, this is so-and-so from the Daily Mail. There's a man arrested in Arizona for attempting to assassinate you, posted a number of videos. He got arrested? You're kidding. Thank you for telling me. Well, let's get out of here. Is he here? Let's go. Notoriously, Trump was shot in the ear. And that's as other people were murdered. Rest in peace, Corey Competore. Crooks was killed by the Secret Service, and then they incinerated his body within 10 days. Nobody got to look at it. The horrific rally prompted a review of the Secret Service. Oh, yeah, and then they deleted or never had any audio recordings from their failures, from their sloped roof debacle, and the FBI's there spraying down the blood off the building within days. Incredible. So again, before Congress even got to go down there and check things out. Remember, the same day that Congress convened their joint committee to investigate this. Investigate. Yeah, right. They were burning the body at the same time, same day, torching the body as Congress we're going to investigate this. All right. So then Trump was targeted again, and they definitely, that's a fun photo. All right. So Ryan Ruth, this is like Areola Engeron. Oh my gosh. All right. So Ryan Ruth, 58, hid in the hedges near Trump's West Palm Beach golf course and then almost shot him. And we saw Ryan Ruth sent a letter to Politico that Politico didn't seem fit to publish, I guess, for whatever reason. So more on this. Some of the clips were numerous, rambling, curse-laden videos he posted on a near daily basis. So total unwell man, which is interesting. Maybe the Secret Service would invite him to another rally. Maybe they invited him to the last one. Oh, it just hit me. Yeah. Oh, perfect. Make sure this guy's at the rally. All right. Secret Service is like, hey, scrolling around on Facebook, this guy's perfect. Where is he? He's in Arizona. Is he going to the rally? Perfect. Let him in. Okay. Just hit, right? Yeah. And then you bring in these sick people, put them in a position, have Secret Service bumble around for a few hours, and then suddenly he gets on a roof, shoots somebody in the head. Isn't that convenient? Curious. Or it could just be a coincidence. Who knows? The clip was one of numerous rambling and curse-laden videos. Earlier in November, he allegedly posted a video threatening Individual 1. In another video, the charging documents was saying the Secret Service tried to kidnap his kids. During the rally, Trump noted he was nearly assassinated a month earlier. Rally goers there say that they take risks and they stand up for the president. So he was anticipating moving to California soon. Though he was arrested in California, charges in Arizona, 4 counts of making false statements during the purchase of a firearm as well. After he lied on federal forms a year ago while trying to buy a pistol from a Phoenix store. Oh, so he's a prohibited possessor. There it is. He swore on those forums that he'd not been previously convicted on a felony, but he was. Felony assault 2003. So he was legally prohibited from possessing firearms, the charging document said, so they got him on a firearms charge. As of Tuesday, court records did not list an attorney representing him, and so we'll see if there's anything else interesting in that indictment. But sounds like just an unwell person, but that is largely what a sizable portion of the oppositional party is, the Democratic Party, sending bomb threats, I guess, to Trump appointees. This should raise a lot of red flags over there at the FBI. Hopefully, they're going to get to the bottom of this. We doubt it. All right, now, let's turn our attention to another interesting individual who's raised a lot of questions. Ray Epps loses big time in court. We're going to take a look at an order from a federal judge who said that his case against Fox News cannot go forward. In fact, it is going to be dismissed. You remember Ray Epps, this guy here, a key star of the January 6th fake insurrection that was instigated and exacerbated and allowed to happen by the feds. He was standing right there at the initial breach when they broke those barricades that you could hurdle over and made their way into the Capitol. Now, he was also there the day before and the day of telling people, we're going into the Capitol, into the Capitol, into the Capitol. Then he never got raided by the feds and was allowed to take a plea deal, unlike other J6ers, via a Zoom conversation where he got a basic misdemeanor charge with just simple probation. Even though he was at the front line, they had evidence of him actually being violent, pushing signs into cops and all sorts of other violent things that they had a hissy fit over. If a J6er bumped or breathed inappropriately and caused a slight movement of uncomfort for a J6 cop, well, then all of a sudden our DOJ, as corrupt as could be, decided to prosecute those people like they were murderers. All right, but Ray Epps was there, all sorts of evidence that he was instigating people to go into the Capitol, led them into the Capitol at the initial breach, as you see in that photo above my head, and then was also given basically no criminal consequence at all, while other people had their lives ruined who were in similar positions and did much, much less than he did. And he went into the building. We read through his deposition. The stupid Congress people who were interviewing him tried as their damnedest to say that he did not go into the building. But in our opinion, in our transcript reading, he did go into the building. And that's a point of contention. But all of the things, okay, he should have been facing the same consequences of other J6ers, but he didn't. Why? Well, you can jump to conclusions on that or deduce those reasonably. But he filed a lawsuit against Fox News, and he has now lost. Before we take a look at this very short order, let me give you the background on what happened here. So this is Fox News's motion to dismiss, and Fox News is irritating on this because they could have made a very similar defense vis-a-vis Tucker Carlson when he was under scrutiny being sued by Dominion. All right, this is a very similar type of claim. Defamation. Tucker Carlson said bad things against Dominion. Okay, same thing is happening here. Ray Epps is like, whoa, Fox News dumped out $800 million because they needed an excuse to get rid of Tucker Carlson. They could blame it on a Dominion statement. Yeah, right. They weren't upset about Dominion. They were upset that Carlson was shattering their Ukraine narrative at the time when nobody else was doing that. So they had to get rid of him, and this was their excuse to do it. So they paid $700 million just as a cost of doing business, I guess. And Fox News should still be shamed for that, for what they've done. Now, obviously, Tucker has risen from the aftermath of that like a phoenix rising. He's more powerful than ever. Strike me down, I'll only come back stronger. And so Ray Epps was like, man, I'm going to get part of that Tucker Fox News money. If they paid out $800 million to get rid of him, what are they going to pay out to get rid of me? So he sued. Fox News said, morons, what are you suing us for? This is First Amendment stuff. They could have done the same thing with Dominion, right? But they didn't. So here's what Fox News said when they were defending themselves against Ray Epps, because Ray Epps, they don't want to pay Ray Epps any money. So they got the whole case dismissed. They could have done this with Dominion too. But here's what the story looks like from Fox News. They say, all right, Ray Epps, this lawsuit is a direct attack on the First Amendment. After Ray Epps was filmed taking a conspicuous role on January 6th, saying, into the Capitol on January 6th, exhorting a crowd the day before, there it is, to go into the Capitol, members of Congress and the media asked questions. Why was he not arrested? And why was it possible that he and others were undercover federal agents? That's a question that we asked here. Or maybe not federal agents, okay, but we get very squirrely on this language. Confidential human source. No, he's not an official CHS, like we have paperwork for CHSs. Okay, well, is he an informant? Is he a friend of an informant? Is he a source that you're working into an informant? They get all squirrely with the language, and our Congress people are like, well, he said he wasn't an undercover federal agent, so I guess that's the end of our questions. Fox opinion hosts joined the debate by doing exactly what the First Amendment protects. They set out key facts that even Ray Epps does not dispute, and then asked questions and offered opinions, just what Tucker did with Dominion. They pointed to the lack of an arrest, and they asked, why is that? Why is that? And said it was odd, and argued that these were legitimate questions. These were the questions that Tucker himself was asking at the time. Now plaintiff claims that Fox should be liable for defamation because its host implied that he was a federal agent who was encouraging and inciting others to engage in unlawful activities. That's a lawsuit? That claim suffers from a host of defects that requires dismissal as a matter of law. First, all the challenged statements that Ray Epps brought against Fox and Tucker are protected by the First Amendment, which also I would argue applies to Dominion. Under the First Amendment, opinions based on disclosed facts are absolutely privileged, no matter how derogatory they are. And so Dominion would say, well, those facts that Tucker was talking about were in actual facts and they're up for dispute. And so Fox made an excuse to get rid of them. So I'm not going to keep drawing the parallels just to spare us the monotony there. But you can apply, okay, this to Tucker versus Dominion. This is Tucker versus Ray Epps. It's not any different. The rule recognizes that when a speaker sets out the facts supporting a conclusion, a listener may choose to accept it or reject it on the basis of an independent evaluation of the facts. The remedy for faulty conclusions based on disclosed facts is more speech, not punishing speech, which has always been the solution until recently. Till the last 4 years, all of a sudden, the Democrats and some Republicans want people silenced. They don't want people free to speak. Here, the allegations and transcripts of Fox shows demonstrate that Fox hosts were presenting protected opinions on disclosed facts that viewers could take or leave. Indeed, one segment that Ray Epps attacks but fails to quote in full, the host showed a video of Ray Epps and told viewers, he said, once again, you can draw whatever conclusions you like from that video. We have ours, we have our own conclusions, and we've shared them with you. And by the way, Ray Epps is a limited purpose public figure, and he fails to allege there was any actual malice here. Because Ray Epps voluntarily thrust himself into a public controversy by the prominent role he presumed that day on January 6th, he even gave live interviews that day where he was talking to live streamers and stuff. He became a public figure. He sought that out. And so he must allege facts showing actual malice. In other words, that Fox News and their hosts, like Tucker, knew their statements were false or had substantial awareness that they were probably false. The complaint fails to allege any of those facts. And third, both Utah and New York law require pleading malice. You have to show why they acted with malice. And by the way, you filed these too late. There's a statute of limitations here. Under the 1-year statute, you can only bring claims for statements after July 10th, 2022. Broadcast before that date expired. And plaintiff cannot claim damages from the loss of his home and business in Arizona, which happened before the statements were made. And so the false light claim is also foreclosed, and so he cannot win. So they give us some more on Ray Epps. Hey, Ray, you were there on January 6th. You flew across the country from Arizona to attend the, quote, Stop the Steal rally to draw attention to your message at the time supporting Trump. On January 5th, Ray, you were there live streaming on the internet. You told a large crowd, Ray, quote, I'm probably going to go to jail for this. Tomorrow, we need to go into the Capitol. We played that clip here 100 times. into the Capitol, members of the crowd, apparently suspecting he was a federal agent, spontaneously chanted, Fed, 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 Fed. Later, plaintiff Ray Epps told one of the leaders in the crowd, Ray's on camera saying, "We're here to storm the..." I'm not kidding. "We're here to storm the..." No, I'm not kidding. That person responded, "We're here to storm the Capitol. Hell yeah." So then on January 6th, he was there the day before, Ray Epps took a leading role, directing the crowd at the rally to the Capitol, with air, almost like air cones, like this right here. Here's the front door. In one video, he tells the crowd, "We're going to the Capitol where our problems are. It's that direction. Please spread the word." Along the way, he gave a TV interview. Then when he was at the Capitol, he went to the front of the crowd along a police barricade that became one of the initial breach points. It was right there. He was captured on video speaking into the ear of Ryan Samsel, and then moments later, after that whisper, Ryan Samsel and others broke the barricade down, toppled over an officer, and Ray Epps followed him through the breach. After he left the Capitol, he texted his nephew, "I was in the front with a few others. I also orchestrated it." See that? And he went into the building in my reading of his depo. The committee investigated, right? So this is Liz Cheney investigating him. And if you read that depo, we read it here. We did a full video reading it. It's a joke. They were asking the most non-inquisitive questions ever. "Did you go into the building?" And the other, "Don't ask." He did. The FBI publicly seeks the defendant at the time. He was a suspect. Now he's the plaintiff because he's suing Fox News. But the FBI was publicly trying to find him. Remember, they posted his picture on the most wanted list of the violent people who started the whole thing on January 6th. When the FBI began trying to identify those who instigated the violence on J6, it created a webpage titled Most Wanted, put photos on there. They removed photos as people were arrested, but they removed Ray Epps' photo around July 2021, and they didn't make an arrest on that. How come? Now, we know that he became a subject of a lot of public interest as videos of Ray Epps circulated online. Media and government officials took interest. In June 21, the New York Times capped a 6-month investigation with the video entitled Day of Rage that featured Ray Epps. The Times posted in their dumb video, they said, "For some, storming the Capitol was part of the plan all along," and showed Ray Epps telling a crowd that they need to go, quote, into the Capitol. It continued saying, "Some make calls to storm the Capitol even before Trump speaks." Okay? Trump was not even talking yet. And Ray Epps there the night before was saying, "We're going into the Capitol." So how is that Trump's fault? And they showed Ray Epps telling a crowd, "We're going to the Capitol where our problems are. It's that direction." It also stated that Samsel pushed down the barricade seconds after plaintiff spoke to him. And that's when the protest turned violent. Now, he was also the focus of 2 articles in Arizona. And then in October, Representative Thomas Massie, shout out, played videos of Ray Epps on January 5th and 6th in a hearing, and he asked Merrick Garland. He said, "Hey, Merrick, were there federal agents in the crowd on those days?" He declined to answer because we know the answer. Yes, there were. The government admitted that there were 8 of them in the Proud Boys trial in their transcripts. They can look that up. They admitted it. The defense team estimated that there were maybe 50 others from Homeland Security. Garland didn't want to answer that. 4 days later, Revolver News claimed that Ray Epps was a Fed-protected provocateur. Gates argued on his podcast that this was the biggest story in the world right now and noted that members of Congress and journalists were asking, was the FBI involved in agitating criminal activity on J6? Clearly. Gates pointed out that TARC agents were on tape trying to insert an informant into the Oath Keepers, of which Ray Epps was a member. And we played videos here that we found, I don't remember where we found those, of Ray Epps walking side by side with Stuart Rhodes, who was the leader of the Oath Keepers in Arizona. They were here in Arizona at an Oath Keepers meeting, and we found the postings there. And they were there, somebody had passed away, they were doing bagpipes and a funeral procession. Ray Epps and Stuart Rhodes, both from the Oath Keepers. Stuart Rhodes is in prison for 20 years, even though he wasn't even there on January 6th. Ray Epps is not. On January 11th, Senator Ted Cruz asked an FBI official whether any FBI agents or informants participated in January 6th, pointed to still shots of plaintiff Ray Epps, and asked whether Ray Epps was a Fed. The official declined to answer, of course. According to 60 Minutes, the FBI refused to comment on Ray Epps for almost 2 years until April 23. Then Ray Epps told his story nationally. On January 21st, Ray Epps testified before the J6 committee that he'd not been working with the government on January 6th. The committee amplified his message by tweeting out his denial to all his followers, so they were covering up for Ray. Then Fox joined the public debate about this. The first mention of Ray Epps was on October 25th, after the New York Times already wrote about him, after there were already congressional inquiries about him. So he's clearly a public person now. As quoted in the complaint, Tucker Carlson and or his guest described the known and undisputed facts about Ray Epps. Then they asked questions about and speculated about answers. One night, Mr. Carlson ended his show asking why Epps was never charged or arrested or sent to jail, and promised his audience an investigation. Another time, Mr. Carlson said, "The question is, did Ray Epps work or have any contact with any government agency? We don't know." He also pointed out the plaintiff had not been charged and asked, "Why is that?" and gave his view that, at this point, it's pretty obvious why that is. Similarly, Tucker argued, it's a legitimate question. Why won't they answer it? Another opinion host similarly questioned why Epps was removed from the FBI list and has not been arrested. And another asked, what about Epps? Did he work for the FBI? The New York Times and 60 Minutes also gave him a platform. On July 13th, New York Times published a new feature about Ray Epps, declaring that Ray was the target of a conspiracy theory. He's on video, man. The story presented Ray Epps' account of his role on J6, including saying, "I don't work for any government. Definitely not. No. On April 21st, 2023, 60 Minutes devoted 1/3 of its broadcast to Ray Epps. On national television, Ray Epps gave his account, again explaining, "I'm not working for the government." Yeah, right. Then he sued. On July 10th, plaintiffs sued Fox for defamation and false light based on the implication, "I'm not a federal agent who was inciting unlawful activities." He says he lost his home, he lost his business, he had to leave Arizona, blah, blah, blah. They say, well, first of all, there's no claim here. The lawsuit from Ray Epps attacks the core First Amendment protected speech that Fox host opinions can opine about. They did that. He played a prominent role in one of the biggest controversies in political history, J6. Epps' claims run into the bedrock of the rule that the First Amendment allows us to talk about and make opinions about people no matter how derogatory they are. There is no actual malice here, and he failed to plead it. Fox hosts, he cannot prove, subjectively knew their statements were false or seriously doubted their truth. You can't prove that at all. Under laws in New York and Utah, defamation requires, among other things, a provably false statement of fact, not an opinion, made with a requisite degree of fault, which here would be actual malice, because he's a public figure. The claim fails because everything he's challenging are opinions. Under the First Amendment, that's protected. Whether a statement is opinion turns on whether it has a precise meaning, whether it can be objectively verified as true or false, the full context of the statement, the broader context, and all factors here confirm that the statements are opinions. Virtually all of the challenged statements are not assertions of verifiable fact, because they're a Fox opinion host like Tucker setting out the facts about Ray Epps and then asking questions or providing an opinion. Oh, that's strange. Oh, that's odd. Maybe we should look into that. Tucker Carlson asked why Epps was never charged or arrested or sent to jail. He's never been charged. Why is that? The question is, did Ray Epps work or have any contact with any government agency? Another host questioned why Epps was removed. Asking those questions does not assert a precise meaning or imply provable facts. It's an opinion. In fact, Fox opinion hosts squarely asserted their goal was to show there were real questions that should be answered. Carlson said, "This is not a conspiracy theory. It's a legitimate question. Why won't they answer it?" "I don't think anyone watching should feel embarrassed to ask those questions or allow anyone to bark you into silence by calling you a conspiracy nut," said Tucker. Commentary asserting that facts deserve serious scrutiny. They're raising questions, urging readers to investigate. That's all protected. It lies at the heart of protected commentary on issues of public concern. Now, similarly, statements from Fox hosts arguing that the facts were very odd, that something very strange is going on with Ray Epps, or that the Ray Epps thing isn't organic, are protected opinions. Statements characterizing facts as suspicious are expressions of opinion. That's not defamation. Even if the challenge statements implied that Ray Epps was working for the government, the context confirms they're still protected opinion. Okay, the governing rule here is that under the First Amendment, opinions based on disclosed facts are absolutely privileged, no matter how derogatory they are. The rule reflects the principle that if the disclosed facts are true and the opinion is defamatory, a listener may decide what to do about that. They may accept it or reject it. The principle applies to all statements here, which were all based on disclosed facts. Ray Epps complains at length about two statements from Tucker Carlson tonight that show the typical pattern. The host or guest details the key facts. Ray Epps was on video urging a crowd to go into the Capitol. He was at the front of the crowd at the barricade right before it was breached. He was on the FBI's wanted poster before he was removed. And unlike others, he had not been charged. Then the host or the guest offered questions and commentary based on those facts. The same format is apparent in other challenge statements as well. Ray Epps asserts, he says, Mr. Carlson ended his show asking why Epps was never charged, arrested, or sent to jail. And another host said, yeah, that is very odd. They took him off the list. Those statements are plainly commentary on disclosed and even undisputed facts. He's not even challenging those. He was taken off. Ray Epps does not complain or claim that those facts were false. He's not saying you made those up. Those are true. To the contrary, Ray Epps admits all the key facts about his involvement. All of it is true. It's on camera. Nor does he allege that any statement implied undisclosed facts. Now that's critical because an opinion can be a defamatory statement only if it implies that it is based on undisclosed facts. It does not matter that the implication that Ray Epps derives from the challenge statements that he was working for the FBI is a factual point that could be proved true or false. As the law explains, where a speaker discloses the facts on which he relies, even a factual conclusion like that person is an alcoholic, even that is protected opinion. It's my opinion that dude's an alcoholic. Similarly here, even if Fox host implied a factual conclusion, it reflected only their interpretations that were based on disclosed facts. So it's especially clear that any conclusions were only opinions as well. The statements were filled with cautionary language. The formats of the segments involved setting out facts, raising questions, and talking about them. Surrounding the puzzle that Ray Epps was, the opinion hosts argued that further inquiry was needed because officials would not even answer the questions. Tucker said, it's a legitimate question. Why won't they answer it? Calling for further investigation is what they're allowed to do, and that's what they were doing. The Fox hosts also acknowledged they didn't have definitive answers. Mr. Carlson said, did Ray Epps work or have any contact with any government agency? We don't know. The official silence and lack of clear answers were part of the point. In one segment, after showing a video of Epps, Mr. Carlson squarely stated, once again, you can draw whatever conclusions you like from that video. We have ours, and we've shared them with you. A Fox opinion host was clearly providing their interpretations, and the audience is free to accept or reject them. The First Amendment protects that commentary. It's essential for our country. It reflects the foundational First Amendment principles. More speech is better, not punishing speech. And more broadly, they were all on commentary talk shows. They're all opinion shows. The context matters. And Ray Epps hasn't shown any actual malice at all. It requires alleging facts showing that Fox hosts subjectively knew their statements were false or had serious doubts about their truth. And maybe that is where you see there's a distinction between dominion. Maybe there's evidence back there that Tucker or some people are like, oh, I don't really know about Dominion, but we'll talk about it anyways. Maybe there's more of that. I don't know. We never will know. But Tucker's opinions about Dominion, and based on things that we saw, should also be protected speech. And Fox News should have never settled that claim. Although in hindsight, I'm glad that they did, because Tucker Carlson has been much more powerful of a force than he ever was at Fox, which is incredible because he was a force at Fox. Plaintiff is a limited purpose public figure. Also, Ray Epps is a public figure, so we're allowed to talk about him. He crossed that line. He voluntarily thrust himself into the vortex of the dispute. He was filmed urging others to go into the Capitol. Then the next day, he urged protesters to go into the Capitol, gave a TV interview. He went to the front of the crowd at a police barricade, was filmed there just before it was breached. He went through the breach and placed himself at the front of the crowd again at the next police line. He admitted that he helped orchestrate the protest and then gave another interview. That participation makes him a limited purpose public figure. And he was also the subject of intense attention. Before the first mention in Fox, he was already in the New York Times. Also the subject in Arizona, an article on daily costs. Subject of questions to the Attorney General. He was on the FBI's most wanted page for 6 months. So that means he's a public person. In addition, Ray Epps had access to the channels of effective communication. He showed up, so he's not like a helpless person who can't respond to this attack from Fox. He was on 60 Minutes. He was giving interviews to the New York Times. He was being lifted up by Liz Cheney as some innocent hero. And there is no actual malice. He hasn't proven anything. First, he claims that Fox had an economic motive to appease viewers. That's irrelevant. Profits are irrelevant. Everybody makes money. Second, claims that Fox sought guests to fall into their storyline also fall short, saying, in any event, comments from one guest rejecting the idea that the FBI infiltrated the Proud Boys gave no information about Ray Epps, who had been an Oath Keeper, especially when Homeland had attempted to infiltrate the Oath Keepers, which we saw. Fox tried to investigate this, and they did. Now, Ray Epps claims that Fox avoided the truth, but that's a pretty self-serving denial, and that's not enough to establish malice. And fourth, Ray Epps fares no better asserting that Fox used unreliable sources like Darren Beattie. What's up, Darren? Shout out. He did great reporting at Revolver. Courts have consistently held that reliance on troublesome sources aren't good enough. Darren Beattie was an amazing source. Also, the complaint does not allege facts, even showing that he was a source. Rather, he provided commentary on known facts. And fifth, Ray Epps cannot allege actual malice by asserting that the idea of federal informants is inherently improbable. Just last year, the prosecution for a conspiracy to kidnap the governor, the big Gretch Rona hoax with Governor Whitmer from Michigan, fell apart because two alleged conspirators were FBI sources who were pushing the plan. Yeah. The First Amendment protects commentators from speculating undisclosed facts of similar conduct here. If one could plead actual malice by just simply labeling a theory about government misconduct improbable, then that standard would not provide much protection for those critiquing government actors. And there is no actual malice here. 6, the absence of any retraction is not evidence of an intent at the time of publication. And so there is not actual malice that is established. And lastly, this is kind of embarrassing. Any claim based on statements before July 10th are also time barred, idiots. In Delaware, the court must apply the shorter of the Delaware statute of limitations. Both have 1 year limitations period. That is shorter than Delaware. And so Delaware actually has to apply a shorter limitation. Because a defamation claim accrues when it's broadcast, and Ray Epps filed his complaint on July 10th, 23, all claims based on statements made before July 10th are barred. So Ray Epps probably thought he was operating on a 2-year statute of limitation, but they're saying it's only 1. Like, oh, crap. The complaint also, so anything that was said on Fox News before that timeline, no, they can't come in. Only stuff within the last year. The complaint fails to allege acts for which Fox could even be liable. Fox is not liable for those statements. Whoa. Oh, they're kind of throwing Tucker Carlson under the bus here. They say also Ray Epps is suing us about comments that Tucker made on Redacted. Shout out to the dudes over at Redacted and his wife. Saying, which is not a Fox product, cannot support a claim. Fox cannot be liable for those statements unless Mr. Carlson was acting within the scope of his employment. So when he hung out with Clay, right, he said some stuff that brought up Ray Epps. Clayton and Natalie, thank you. Yeah, it's a great show. But the complaint does not allege any facts suggesting that appearance was of the general kind Mr. Carlson is employed to perform, that it occurred within the hours of Mr. Carlson's work. They say we're not responsible for what he said on their show. So we can't be responsible for that. The mere fact that Mr. Carlson spoke about the work he did at Fox does not indicate that he was acting within the scope of his employment. And so Ray Epps' claims should fail. The First Amendment applies. The claim fails. There was no actual malice. And the claim is time barred. He filed it too late. And third, the plaintiff's false light claim fails because there's not even special damages here. The law says that we're protected and the loss of his home and his business are not even damages because those damages occurred before the complaint in May 2022. But everything before July is irrelevant. So we don't care about his claim damages. And since there are no claim damages, the suit is moot. And so the complaint should be dismissed for failure to state a claim. Signed by Fox News lawyers who should have actually defended Tucker Carlson in this way if they were doing the right thing, but they didn't. They wanted to fire him. But turns out Fox News wins. Ray Epps loses. You can see the order from the court says, for the reasons announced from the bench today, it is hereby ordered that Fox News' motion to dismiss the complaint by Ray Epps for failure to state a claim is granted. Ray Epps loses again. And here is more on what happened. This is from Alan Feuer over from New York Times, who is apparently in the courtroom. It says a federal judge on Wednesday tossed out a defamation lawsuit against Fox News. Ruling from the bench, we just read the order, but ruling from the bench, meaning she's giving her rationale orally in court, dismissed the defamation claims by the man called Ray Epps. These are strong, difficult lawsuits to win. And let's see what the judge said. Fox fought the defamation claim, and Judge Hall agreed with it, noting that guests who Mr. Carlson brought on his show to discuss Mr. Epps, including the right-wing journalist Darren Beattie, what's up, Darren, were simply airing their own commentary and opinions. The judge also noted that in some of his broadcasts, Mr. Carlson included Mr. Epps' denial that he was serving as a government asset during the time, and the decision left Mr. Epps with limited options to seek accountability. As accounts about Mr. Epps spread online, he became a boogeyman because he got away with a slap on the wrist, no consequences at all. And they say he's receiving death threats and stuff, which of course we condemn totally. I mean, it's illegal to do that. A federal judge tossed it out, dismissed the defamation claims, and his attorneys not happy about it. CNN reported a representative for Ray Epps did not respond to a CNN request for comment. Womp, 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 womp. Sorry, Ray Epps, you lose. And that's good news. Now, he was trying to get a piece of that Fox News money. Would have been nice to see Fox News put together a defense like that for Tucker Carlson when he was doing the same thing, talking about Dominion. But they needed to get rid of him. Good news is they mostly defended him in this case. The lawsuit's going to go away. Ray Epps could always turn around and sue Tucker Carlson personally for those suits and those things. We hope that he does not, because he is an individual about which and about whom there are many, many questions. What was he doing there? Why did he get a little misdemeanor probation outcome when other J6ers are still in custody? Ray Epps was violent. In my opinion, he was on the FBI's most wanted list. He was there at the initial breach. He went into the building. Misdemeanor charge that he gets to call in via Zoom. All right, give me a break. Former member of the Oath Keepers too. Right. Admitted that he orchestrated it to his son. But he gets away scot-free. Not going to get any of that Fox News money. The next question will be, what does the incoming administration do when they look into the J6 committee and what the J6 committee did with these records? Will we learn the true Ray Epps story? We're looking forward to that. Time will tell. We'll be here. Thanks for continuing to follow it with us, my friends, and thanks for subscribing and joining as we do. All right, now we're not done yet. We've got one more update in this case, which is an interesting one. And let's jump right to it. Elon Musk jumping in to save a whistleblower doctor from the great state of Texas. His name is Haim, and this is an interesting filing that just got dropped fresh out of the oven. It is Elon and X Corp coming in to intervene to try to help this guy who has now had a gag order placed upon him. And this has caught a lot of attention in the state of Texas and elsewhere because back in June of this year, Ted Cruz, who has a podcast, wrote from the United States Senate and was demanding answers about this guy's arrest. So the background, who is this guy? Dr. Haim has been arrested and is currently being prosecuted for blowing the whistle about kids, what hospitals are doing to kids. So Ted Cruz sent this in, says, all right, hey, United States Attorney, who's now arrested this guy, says, all right, dear U.S. Attorney Hamdani, I'm writing to express my concern about the ongoing prosecution of Dr. Haim by you. On June 4th at 7 a.m., 3 deputy U.S. Marshals presented themselves at Dr. Haim's door to inform him that he was being indicted on 4 felony counts of HIPAA violations. As you should know, the basis upon which this investigation was launched and the manner in which it has since been conducted invite serious questions about the weaponization of you people. So here's where this is coming from. On May 16th, 2023, the City Journal published an article by Christopher Rufo. What's up, Christopher Rufo? Revealing that a Texas hospital was performing invasive and irreversible medical procedures on the youth of America, including children as young as 11 years old. These procedures marked an apparent resumption of these procedures, which the hospital had previously halted in March 2022 in response to state investigations about criminal abuse. But they kept doing it. The public would have remained unaware of the resumption of these procedures if not for the courageous actions of Dr. Haim, who blew the whistle. He revealed that over the following year, the hospital actually increased the frequency of these procedures, stating that potentially hundreds more children receive the interventions for what they claim they have. Less than a week after the City Journal story broke, the Texas legislature passed legislation confirming that these medical procedures for kids were illegal under Texas law. And Christopher Rufo, for his part, confirmed that all the information he received was carefully redacted and he didn't publish or identify any individuals in his story. So then on June 23rd, the day of his medical residency graduation, armed agents from Department of Health and Human Services descended on Dr. Haim's home, interrogating him about medical records and demanding to interview him on the spot. After his wife advised him, do not answer questions without an attorney. Smart woman. The agent served him a target letter signed by your office, U.S. Attorney, stating that Dr. Haim was a potential target of an unsuspected, unspecified criminal investigation. Now, this investigation appears to bear the markings of a political prosecution, which has unfortunately been the stock in trade of the current DOJ. We know there's a long history of this. In September 22, Mark Houck got arrested by 20 FBI goons at his house. In May 24, Lauren Handy, 5 years in prison for a nonviolent protest at an abortion clinic. This severe punishment starkly contrasts with how they handled lefties who firebomb pregnancy resource centers and protest outside Supreme Court justices' homes in violation of the law. Now, these glaring disparities reveal a problematic justice system. I'm concerned about his prosecution, and so here's what I want to know. This is what Ted Cruz was asking about. So he was demanding to know, do you prosecute other people? Why are you targeting him? And so on and so forth. This is for background. This is by way of Ted Cruz, who has a podcast, and you should definitely subscribe to it. So That's the background. Now, this is where Elon comes in. So Elon dropped this one saying, now we're coming to play, all right? X Corp hereby moves to intervene in Dr. Ethan Haim's prosecution that's happening right now in the Southern District of Texas. A new player enters the game and files the opposition against a gag order that has been placed on Ethan. X Corp says the following: stripped of its rhetoric, Your Honor, the government's motion for an order gagging the public speech of Ethan Haim and his lawyers seeks to accomplish one goal: to suppress the public reaction to the government's abuse or use of prosecutorial discretion in this action so that we cannot complain about them. This high-profile case has attracted sharp criticism, including by Dr. Haim and his counsel, of the government's decision to prosecute a lone Texas physician for blowing the whistle on a medical scandal, criticism that the government now characterizes as, quote, the online bullying of prosecutors, because they are babies who can't handle some online comments. They're total babies. It's pathetic. The fact that they even wrote that in a motion, Your Honor, Dr. Haim and his lawyers can't contribute to the online bullying of prosecutors. Can you imagine writing that? I'm grossed out that I even have to read it. Could you imagine writing that? Like a real prosecutor. Gosh, it's wild. What irony for this complaint to come from federal prosecutors whose awesome powers and nearly limitless resources make them Goliath to Dr. Haim's David. Absolutely true. It's like, you're a federal prosecutor. You have so much power, it's sick. And you're going to sit there and cry about some nasty comments about you? You should not be a prosecutor at all, okay? You should go run a daycare or something. Maybe not that. Something not involving kids. And it is precisely because of their extraordinary power that prosecutors must be held accountable to the public and not permitted to hide behind a veil of court-imposed secrecy through litigation tactics like sealing their filings from public view and getting gag orders against defendants, which they gagged Trump multiple times. Implicit in the government's request for a gag order is an attempt to undercut the power of X. And through its social media platform, X has afforded ordinary citizens with the power to comment on and, indeed, to make the news. Free speech by users on X, in which X has a First Amendment interest, is a crucial component of public debate and news dissemination in the United States today. And this speech is directly at odds with unlawful prior restraints on the meager showing set forth in the government's motion. And so for the reasons discussed herein, X Corp respectfully requests that the court grant our motion to intervene in this case so that we can fight the gag order and stop their attempt to silence free speech. They say, you know who X is, you know who we are, formerly Twitter. Hundreds of millions of people on here. You can like, post, you can follow a For You timeline. X is amazing. Historically, Americans and their access to news was mediated by the CNNs and the MSNBCs. But now X is changing this dynamic. X provides all its users to create and promote online content, and they can publish long-form video. In fact, you may be watching us on X right now. I hope you are. In short, X is no longer a place for citizens to discuss the stories. X is the media. And this is fun. X is the media, and each of its users is empowered to be a journalist in their own right. Now, for the reasons set forth, and in light of its massive number of active users, over 600 million, X has been heralded as the global town square. Now, given the enormous audience and engagement afforded to X, X plays a unique role in free speech in modern times. And we pride ourselves on providing an open forum and public debate. So here's the background. On November 20th, 2024, the government filed a motion requesting that the court impose a gag order on Dr. Haim and his counsel, trying to limit his free speech because these pathetic prosecutors can't handle some online comments. They're pathetic. When prosecutors complain about online comments, it makes me want to just condemn them even more online. And so we'll do that right now. We'll say they're pathetic losers. How about that? Specifically, the government asks the court to prohibit Dr. Haim and his attorneys from making public statements or talking to the press, other than to state without elaboration the general nature of the allegation or the defense made in this case, information contained in the public record of this case, or decisions, or to explain without any elaboration anything that's happening. The government asked the court to prohibit any statement to the press that could interfere with a fair trial or otherwise prejudice the defendant, the government, or the administration of justice. This is so sick, my friends. It makes my skin crawl. Remember, they were doing this to Trump. President Trump has 80 million Americans at his back, probably a lot more than that. This guy doesn't. So a court can come in and say that a defendant who has no power at all, the only power that we have against the government in a situation where you're a defendant, the only power is your free speech. You can even argue maybe due process. All right. You have some right to counsel protections and those things. But your free speech is your strongest power to check the government. That's why it's the First Amendment. If the others were more important, they would be more important. They'd be up there. You have to be able to speak about your due process violations, speak about your corrupt judge, speak about your hack prosecutor. If you can't speak about those things, you have nothing. Because when they violate your due process, you can't talk about it. In support of its request for these extreme prior restraints, and the DOJ knows this, okay, they're just like, it shows you how actually sick they actually are. They're not even trying to adhere to normal systems of justice. This is just a doctor from Texas who had an opinion about some surgeries and shared it. And they are going to use this catch-all administration of justice. Now, this is not going to carry in Texas, which is why Elon is there and filing here, or because he's being charged here. But imagine if this is in D.C. Clearly, his speech is being gagged in D.C. The government alludes to numerous publicly available statements on X posted by Dr. Haim and says that his speech has the possibility to interfere with a fair trial and could prejudice the government or the administration of justice because the posts disparage the prosecutors, who are the biggest whiny baby losers in America, and discusses information that might be excluded in a one-day jury trial. The government accuses Dr. Haim and his counsel of having crossed a line, bombarding social media with inaccurate and inflammatory descriptions of pretrial proceedings that would never be admissible before a jury, and accuses him of encouraging the online bullying of prosecutors and creating heightened safety risks, such as serving as invitations to members of the media and the public to harass prosecutors. Give me a break. They are so pathetic. Bullying, harassment. First of all, harassing a prosecutor is illegal. Okay, there's laws and statutes called threatening harassment. Different permutations and alterations of that law, but basically every state has some version of that. Okay, you can't threaten and harass people as a general rule. Posting comments, doing X posts, commenting on hack loser prosecutors is opinion. That's free speech. We're allowed to say those things. And we're allowed to call you guys big babies who can't even handle some online comments. Now, yet while the railing against the content of his posts and acknowledging that they're publicly available, government filed copies of these X posts under seal and without any accompanying motion or seal explaining why the exhibit should be hidden from public view. The filing followed hot on the heels of the government's filing of multiple other documents under seal, and they want, including a motion of the government's lead prosecutor to withdraw as counsel of record entirely. Now, although the government sees no issue in its own public heralding of its criminal prosecution of Dr. Haim, saying that they posted a whole press release about this. When they prosecuted the guy, they released it on their justice.gov website, saying, look what we've done. We're so proud of ourselves. There's an extreme social stigma of a federal indictment. It's okay if they talk about prosecuting him. It believes that unlike Dr. Haim, they're entitled to hide behind a veil of secrecy during the prosecution. And so unfortunately for the government, decades of constitutional precedent foreclose its attempt to muzzle Dr. Haim's ability to express himself and requires the denial of a motion to gag him in this case. And we have standing to intervene. The fact that the DOJ is doing this is reprehensible. I hope this U.S. attorney is immediately asked to resign as soon as Trump takes office. The government argued that the journalist could not establish an injury in another case. In this other case, the Al-Dawsari case, something else happened. And we have standing, all right? The government's gag order seeks to prevent identified willing speakers like Dr. Haim and his counsel from publishing speech on X. And we have an interest in that. The effect of the government's gag order would be both to take down content currently on X and to prevent future dissemination of similar content on X. This impacts X's own First Amendment rights. Oh my gosh! Finally! Yes, baby! This is what we have been saying for years now, ever since Trump has been gagged. Yes, it's Trump's First Amendment right to speak. It's also our First Amendment right to receive it. Elon is saying we have a right to receive it. So finally we get some of this. And it's a social media company that's doing this. Where was YouTube saying, wait a minute, we can't have President Trump on our platform? We have a whole 100 million people on the platform who want to hear from him. YouTube could have said that when Trump got deplatformed. They didn't. They all voluntarily wanted him gone. And they all took him down. And same thing happened, right? With Trump got gagged in his Engeron case or his Alvin Bragg case. Nobody was suing so that Trump could have some free speech and so that we could hear from him. That's been our point. And now Elon is jumping into the game. And I'm betting the reason they're playing this is because of the election. Okay, Trump won. The DOJ is going to be changing. And this is probably going to be successful. There's going to be a changing of the guard. And this whole prosecution might go away. Dr. Haim and his counsel have a right to use X, which is unique among social media platforms due to its massive public reach. And I love this. It's also, this is like a PR motion too, like a public relations motion. Elon's like, look how amazing we are. It's true, they are amazing. Preach it, baby. As opposed to platforms focusing on messages among friends or family that have lower rates. We speak to the press, the public, and others at large. X Corp has the right to have him here. Indeed, the United States Supreme Court has recognized the critical role of X in public conversations. The government has not met its burden for a gag order. They go through motions of arguing that his counsel and his statements on X, they say, present a substantial likelihood of prejudicing the court's ability to conduct a fair trial. Yeah, right. But the government does not hide its true motive for seeking a prior restraint on Dr. Haim and his counsel. The prosecutors who brought this case do not want to be criticized on social media because they're pathetic. Indeed, the government's real concern appears not to be fairness of these proceedings, which are mentioned in passing, but rather the online bullying of prosecutors who are such a bunch of weenies they can't take it. The government's generalized fear of public criticism stemming from their own abuse is a legally inadequate basis for a gag order, okay? Just because you're scared of some comments that are calling you out for being little babies doesn't mean you get to gag him from that. Not to mention profoundly at odds with centuries of precedent supporting the public right of access to court proceedings. In this case, the government has attracted sharp criticism for its decision to prosecute a physician for blowing the whistle on a medical scandal, which is the permanent and physical alteration of kids that's done in violation of the law. You're going to prosecute him for calling people out who are breaking the law? On one side of this dispute is the federal government. It's huge, infinite resources. On the other side, a single physician and his tiny team of lawyers. It is precisely because of this extraordinary power dichotomy that prosecutors cannot be allowed to immunize themselves from public comments. What's more, his speech is the primary form of redress against the government and their limitless resources. Our free speech is multiplied by X, and they hate it. The government's demand that the court gag him to stop, quote, the online bullying of prosecutors And I don't know how many times they've used that phrase in this motion. Maybe 5, 6. But it's brilliant because it's such a pathetic phrase. You just have to keep restating it. It's like rubbing their noses in it every time to prevent the online bullying of prosecutors. Yeah. Who put themselves voluntarily into this position when they charged the case in the first place. And ignore the fundamental right of the public to criticize the government and should be rejected. A gag order is an extreme disfavored remedy. Even among First Amendment claims, the court should therefore examine whether the government has made the necessary showing here, and they have not done that. The legal standard here is focusing on gag orders and the appropriate processing of a case. But despite its accurate recitation of the standard, the government got that right in their motion, they still devote a substantial portion of the short motion to Dr. Haim and Mr. Burke's criticism of the prosecution team. And then filed everything under seal so no one can understand what they said. Then the government writes a self-serving description of their speech without actually showing us their speech. But the government never even tries to link its discussion of the online bullying of prosecutors, again, nailed it, to govern that legal standard. What is the standard for online bullying of prosecutors? Like, is it 5 comments? Is that bad? Like, can prosecutors handle 3 comments but not 5? Do the thumbs down button, does that really hurt their fifis? Or what is it? Is it the bad words? If you swear at them, is that what crosses the line? Is that the standard that's going to make them aggrieved? The government's inability to cite a single case that talks about bullied prosecutors means they're pathetic. Now, contrary to their groundless suggestion that the criticism of the prosecutors warrants prior restraints, Dr. Haim and his counsel's speech criticizing the prosecution is exactly what the First Amendment guards against. Speech critical of the exercise of the state's power lies at the very center of the First Amendment. It's why we have it. Any government misconduct, speech going against government misconduct has been recognized at the core for good reason. As the government's recitation of the legal standard suggests, the critical inquiry is how a party's speech would affect the fairness of the trial, not how it would affect the counsel's feelings. That's great. Yeah, it says, in United States versus Trump, the D.C. Circuit vacated a portion of the gag order, saying that Trump and his ability could also talk about Jack Smith. The government failed to hone its complaints about the doctor and her speech, and so what they have identified here, perhaps recognizing that a defendant and his counsel's, quote, online bullying is far from a compelling interest that justifies a gag order, the government then engages in hyperbolic speculation. They suggest that Dr. Haim and Miss Burke, their, quote, online bullying, again, you see he's increasing the frequency of this, may create heightened safety risks, serving as invitations to members of the media and the public to harass prosecutors who think that they're much better than you. The government's motion is devoid of any evidence suggesting that these safety risks even exist or that they're plausible. It's just rank speculation, untethered to even a single salient example that's not enough to warrant a gag order. Now, their concern about online bullying based on their criticism on X is a factual and legal chasm away from being able to carry their burden. X and its hundreds of millions of users, on the other hand, have a right under the First Amendment to hear, assess, and debate public criticism of the government's actions, notwithstanding any discomfort it may engender in the government's agents. For these and other reasons, the motion should be denied. And so for the foregoing reasons, X respectfully requests that the court allow it to intervene in this case and urge that the court deny the motion. Signed by Harmeet Dillon, Krista Bauman, Jesse Franklin Murdoch, and At the top line signer, John Paul S. Diol. Great motion. Great motion. And so he's the attorney who is there in the Southern District of Texas. We've got the Dillon crew and others piling in to support the X Corp crew, and we're very happy to see that. So good news. I think that ultimately, once the Trump DOJ comes in, we get Pam Bondi in here, they'll probably do a refresh of the cases, a review of the cases. And I would imagine this case in the Southern District goes bye-bye. So it's a nice motion by X because they're likely to win it. In other words, the gag order will not go into effect, likely because the case will probably get dismissed once Trump takes over. So they'll get to declare victory. They take a stand for free speech. The First Amendment is obviously critically important. This is one of the more pathetic things you'll see from prosecutors. The online bullying of prosecutors is just pathetic. I don't even know what that means according to them. They don't like nasty comments. They don't like people criticizing them. They shouldn't be prosecutors. That's part of the game. And it's pathetic that they can't even recognize that. And they want to trample over somebody's rights in order to protect their hurt feelings. Pathetic people. We're excited to continue to call them pathetic. We hope you join us as we do. Thank you for subscribing. We'll see you back here on the next one. All right, my friends. It's been a heck of a stream. If you're just joining us, let me give us a quick recap on what we talked about. Bomb threats and death threats all over the place in Trump world. Almost a dozen appointees got hit with these, including Elise Stefanik. We had Lee Zeldin. We had Scott Turner. We got reports that John Ratcliffe, CIA director, got one. Pete Hegseth got one. Interesting times. And in Arizona, they arrested a guy who was making some very troubling threats against Trump on social media. And his name was Tamayo Torres, who got arrested in San Diego. Then we talked about Ray Epps. You remember him, star of the January 6th insurrection. He has now lost his case coming out of a district court in Delaware. He sued Fox News for defamation and lost bigly. We read through the Fox motion, which was a nice defense of free speech and the First Amendment and how you can have opinions about these things. Would have been nice to see them do that with Tucker, but they didn't. And then, of course, Dr. Haim, Ethan Haim, a very interesting case that is being prosecuted by the current DOJ, likely to be disposed of by the incoming DOJ, but a nice fight for free speech nonetheless, and we're here for it. And so now, my friends, it's time to hear from you. If you missed any of those segments, you can hit the rewind, or we'll be publishing those segments later on. Tomorrow, we're planning on doing a stream on Thanksgiving. And so if you want to join us, probably going to be 9 a.m. Arizona time, 11 a.m. Eastern time. We'll come on, we'll say hello, we'll say happy Thanksgiving. We'll see if there's any news to brief for a short little hello stream, and then we'll go and we'll celebrate with our fam. So that's the plan for tomorrow. If you want to join us, thanks for subscribing, hitting the notification bell. It'll be about that time, and we'll see what's happening tomorrow. But now, my friends, it's time to hear from you. It has been a beautiful day and an amazing stream. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully, you're getting ready for the Thanksgiving. If you're on the road, you're traveling safely, and you're ready to get into it with anybody who voted for Kamala over Thanksgiving. Looking forward to that. Let's see who's joining us. Hey, little sister's in the house. Little LS number 219. Little sister number 219. Little sister's in the house. Welcome. Just became a supporter. Great to see you, little sister. New friends, new members. Grab the members only stream from this morning. We had a fun stream this morning talking about Jay Bhattacharya and others. So check that out. Hey, and good to see you, little sister. This old guy says, my bet is Dr. Jill already knew about the bomb threats. Or maybe it was the J6 pipe bomber that they never found. Maybe it was the same FBI agents on both of them. Good to see you, this old guy. NY Reno says, in federal law, the president-elect is treated the same as the president for 18 U.S. Code 871. You can't make threats against him. That's a good statute there, NY. Yep, he's been arrested. What's up, Pam Raglan? Says Paul Ryan is on Fox News board since 19. Also the one who reported Trump to the FECA for the Stormy Daniels payment. Says FECA investigated Trump, found no wrongdoing. I always wondered if his influence could be behind the getting rid of Tucker and settling with Dominion for the appearance of no voter fraud. In my opinion, Paul Ryan is a dangerous rhino. What's up, Charles Sean? What's up, Charles Sean? Great to have you. Welcome aboard as our new supporter. Venus Gonzalez, what's up, Venus Gonzalez, says, hit that like button. Show the channel some love. Thank you for that, Venus. Thank you for being with us today, my friends. We appreciate your support. What a nice message, Venus. Thank you for writing that and for saying that. NY says, just to remind everyone, Ray Epps' lawyer is Michael Teeter, founder of Project 65, the group that goes after lawyers who defend Donald Trump. Yeah, and I think Stephen Passatino, right, Cassidy Hutchinson's lawyer, is now going after Project 65 for smearing him. So, yeah, it's going to be a fun 4 years, I think. Hey, Knox Bierman. Hey, all. I rewatched the morning members only stream as I got home at the end. Remember in the rooms when people would say, takes one to know one? As a former drunkard, I can say Crenshaw was drunk, Harris was totaled, and Mrs. Obama has had some rough nights. Knox. Yeah, we had a fun stream this morning because we played Crenshaw, and Crenshaw was dropping F-bombs because he got asked about stocks. F have any F in stocks. You don't make any F in money in Congress. F and A, F and F and F. Like, whoa, bro, relax. You can't make money. You're a congressman and you can't figure out how to make money. You're pathetic. You shouldn't be in Congress. What are you complaining about? You have to do insider trading with your stocks in order to make money in Congress. Just write a book. Start a podcast. Okay. Even Ted Cruz can do it. It was hilarious. And then Kamala was hammered and Mrs. Obama, I don't know what was going on with her, but they're going through rough times over there. It's rough times. Hey, Larry says recommendation, make the wellness kit box orange. That's a good suggestion. Yeah. So it kind of stands out in an emergency, kind of when it's like up in a tree, you're like, oh, there it is. So you can find it. Good suggestion, Larry. Thanks for it. Hey, what's up? 8 months as a member. Waylon Sim in the house. What's up, Waylon Sim? Thanks for being a member for 8 months, my friend. One more month, then we'll be here for a full baby, and we're looking forward to it. Tam Tam, what's up, Tam Tam? Just became a supporter. Good to see you, Tam Tam. We'll see you on the Membo streams. And Knox says, here's more on Rachel Maddow. We talked about this morning, too, ratings. Rachel Maddow suffers worst ratings of the year. I heard she took a pay cut, too. Like she's going to take 25 million instead of 30. The ratings woes continue for MSNBC post-election as the liberal cable news channel nearly saw half of its viewers flee following President-elect Trump's victory. Perhaps even more stark, though, is that the network's biggest and highest paid star just saw her viewership sink to the point where she was recently beaten by a rerun of Ancient Aliens. That's a good show, though. I mean, were they real? Were they here? How'd they build the pyramids? Who knows? Hey, Ravicus says, I wish everyone, Rob, and the rest of the Watching the Watchers community the best Thanksgiving ever. We have many reasons to give thanks this year. I will pray for our nation that we overcome the dark forces hell-bent against us. Be forever vigilant, my friends. Ravicus, what a great comment, my man. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Thanks for being here with us through the down times and the up. I hope you celebrate well and enjoy your meal. NY says, I wonder where Michael Teeter is. He's probably already gone out of the country. His Project 65 is done. Yeah, they're done. And I also heard that Reid Hoffman is thinking about fleeing the country. Hilarious. Villaplot says, Rob, check the election results or Google Miller Meeks. It's close. 220 to 214, man. It's close. Hey, Spuds is in the house. What's up, Spuds? Bringing in 5 membos, the noble Spud, foundation of the Irish diet. Indeed. And delicious. We love Spuds. Hey, Pig Riser's here. Johnny Appleseed, Heath Wilson, Russian Bot, and Nana in the house. Spuds is joining us with his lovely mama in the house. What's up, Spuds? Great to have you here. Hey, Sheila Pooh is bringing in 10 membos. Sheila, look at that. Bringing in 10 membos. Thank you, Sheila. Designed Audio's coming in. Razah, Ashton, Sam, Urelli Plans. We got Elizabeth Carroll, Willard Dunham. We have Southern Mom, Bree, and Spine. Gifted membos courtesy of Sheila Pooh. A million hugs to you. Thank you, Sheila, for doing that. Hey, B-Man says, Cash Patel, shout out, said only way to get off most wanted lists is to be unalived or already be an informant. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And that applies to Ray Epps, obviously. Hey, what's up, Rudd? Thanks for calling the Dirty Bird Capital Cop Out. You're happy to do so, Rudd. Yeah, he's talking about Lieutenant Colonel, now Captain Bird, and all that extra money he got, all that time off he got, all that extra security he got, even though he shot at a van from the rear that was driving through his neighborhood, left his gun at the crapper when he was supposed to not be doing that, and got a promotion on top of it. It's Alan Harkin. What's up, Alan? Alan, you see we missed you the other day, but we made it up on the following day. Hopefully you caught that. Thanks for the dono a while ago. Says, great show, informative and insightful as usual. So glad there are more positive legal proceedings in our favor to review. As always, Robert, your reputation precedes you. Thank you, Alan. What a nice comment. Alan's over on Rumble. Very generous. Alan, nice to have you here. Yeah, it's going to be interesting now to see how quickly there is an about face, especially on that last one with Dr. Haim. Like, he was under the scrutiny of the Biden DOJ, but that's going to flip in less than 2 months. And what's going to happen to those cases? What's going to happen to the J6 cases? And more. We're very excited about it. I think there's going to be a lot of positivity. Stuff like Elon, he wouldn't be able to file that, I don't think, without a Trump victory. Or the fact that he's filing it with a Trump victory means it's a lot more likely to be successful. And we're excited about it. Alan, thanks for the generous dono, my friend. Thanks for being here and being an amazing member on the Rumbles as well. We got Sheila Poo. Says, isn't the ability to talk about government overreach the reason we have the First Amendment? Yeah, it's our most powerful tool against government corruption. We have to be able to talk about it. And being able to talk about it is how you rally people to your cause to then create the political movement to cause the reform. And every other country until ours figured out that if you shut people up and you take away their speech, which is really their humanity, your ability to speak and write and think and communicate those ideas is your humanity in action. So when your speech is taken away, they're taking away your humanity. Your livelihood is gone, stripped from you. So our founders recognize that, and we preserve it. Tony Hay Munkins is here, bringing in 5 membos. Thank you, Tony Hay. FJB's here. Alexander, what's up? Rosie's here. Emmy Andrews and XX War Person is joining us. What's up? Welcome aboard, courtesy of Tony Hay Munkins. Hey, Gloria B, what's up? Says, Crypto Crackhead was gifted a membo. Welcome aboard, Crypto Crackhead. Fred Pedamonte, what's up? Says, Joe Neerman tried to have Trump's gag removed. That's true. We read through Joe Neerman's motion here on the show. Shout out to Joe. Hey, what's up, Gopher? Says, so Elon is, quote, stealing Joe Neerman and Good Logic's argument. Same person. In the gag order case and running with it. Good to see. JM says, wish Joe got acknowledged for his efforts. If only Elon signed on a Good Logic's lawsuit, it might have drawn more people to that. Yeah, Joe did fight for him, and I think is still fighting for him in New York. And so shout out to Joe Neerman, Good Logic, waging the good fight in New York, trying to ungag the president. And he made the same point there that we also want to hear from Trump in response to that. So shout out to Joe Neerman, Good Logic. We did read through Joe's motion here on the channel. If you missed that, Gopher, it was a good filing. Good to see you, and thanks for calling out and supporting Joe. Tony Hay Munkett says, I'm off to work for 11 days. Happy Thanksgiving, Robert. Well, you're off work. You're not off to work. You're off work for 11 days. Oh, my gosh. What are you going to do with yourself? I think I'd go nuts. I don't know what I'd do for myself. I don't know. Maybe I should talk to somebody about that. F. Joe Biden says, have a great 11 days. F. Joe Biden says, doesn't being a bully, being you have to be the one in power, to bullying someone else that is less strength or power? Yeah, prosecutors are powerless, right? That's why it's so pathetic. It's like you're a federal prosecutor. You're a U.S. attorney, and you've got some anonymous internet accounts who are dunking on you, and you can't handle that. You're pathetic. You have all the power, right? You have the power of the DOJ behind you, and some rando X accounts are causing you to spiral out of control and admit how pathetic you are in a court filing. pathetic. This old guy says, my personal opinion of federal prosecutors is that they're not the brightest bulbs to have passed the Christmas tree light bar. I don't think most could actually practice law in the real world. Yeah, I think that's something I've observed, this old guy. I've observed people leave the government, go into private practice, go back to the government. Like, I can't cut that. And the idea for many people of practicing law in the private sector is like horrifying to them. So I think there's a lot of truth to that as well. Hey, this one came in from 22 Dragon. Here's one meme from AOC. If Trump sanctions Turkey, how will we have Thanksgiving? It's hard to know. This one from Anthony F., Soldier of Providence. Bringing in 5 membos. Thank you, Anthony. Esmeralda Riel. We got Wildly Lost. Jerome is here. Some Dude coming in. And Misty is coming in, courtesy of Anthony F. And we love Anthony F. in the house. Okay, Anthony, I see you. I love those 2 kids. They're great. That dude knows how to rock. Whatever happened to that kid? What do you think he's doing? He probably invented something incredible, right? Hey, what's up? Sheila Pooh says, happy Thanksgiving to you, Rob, and to all of our Watching the Watchers family. Sheila Pooh, happy Thanksgiving to you, Sheila. Thanks for being an amazing membo and supporter here. Hopefully you're doing something fun and enjoying it. We've got this one from Tex Rick. Says, that was a great segue to giving thanks. That was a great segue to giving thanks. I don't remember it, Tex Rick, but whoever served it up, thank you for that. Sergeant GPS says, 9 months ago today, I stopped lurking and officially became a membo. Sergeant, we have a baby. Here's the child support payment. Happy Thanksgiving to you and the Watcher fam. Sergeant, awesome, brother. Thank you for being here for so long. We got to meet Sergeant in Vegas, and it's awesome to meet you, man. Thanks for being here for 9 months. That's full term. We appreciate you being here. How fun is that? I'm glad. Thanks for saying that. Locals doesn't flag that for us, so thanks for saying that. It's super fun. Sergeant, we got a baby. Hey, F. Joe Biden. I think I almost said that one. Oh, gosh. Says, her name is Rachel Mad Cow. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Sorry. I'll correct that next time. John Allen, what's up, John? Says, hey, Rob, wish you and everyone a happy Thanksgiving tomorrow. Even John McGarvey. It's an inside joke. They don't actually, have a problem with each other. John versus John. McGarvey versus Allen. Blessings for all, and may everyone unburden their shoulders and thoughts to have a relaxing, enjoyable time. Unless there are liberals there, then you have to make sure they learned a lesson. And if not, you have to educate them and report back. Knox, hey, thank you, John. I'm just joking about that. Happy Thanksgiving to you, John. Thanks for being here. It's great to see you again, my friend. Hope you're doing well. It's going to be a beautiful Thanksgiving in our MAGA hats. Knox Bierman says, I want to wish everyone an amazing Thanksgiving. We are so blessed this year. I have so much more hope than I did at this time last year. Knox, I think you're right. And I don't think you're alone. I think a lot of people are feeling this, and it's showing up in the numbers, showing up in the polls. Even CNN was talking about it. Like 59% of Americans support the Trump transition, and it's going well. I think people are feeling it. Mark Andreessen was on with Joe Rogan. It was great. I listened to the whole thing, and I thought he hit on a ton of points that are relevant to what we talk about here. And he made a comment like America is rebooting, it feels like. A lot of opportunity is now bubbling back up. People are excited. I feel it. I know you feel it. Thanks for the report, Knox. ELZ says, the gift of gab shall not be infringed. No way. No way, baby. That's our whole existence. Ravicus says, speech is your verbal self-defense. It's the prelude to the Second Amendment. Exactly right. Yeah, you have free speech. And to back that up, we have the Second Amendment. That's how serious it is. First is free speech. If you try to take away the free speech, we have guns. Don't do it. And now we have a bunch of weird Democrats that are like, but it could be disinformation, so I can't say that. What? John Allen says, also, I'm thankful for all of you, the watchers, and for you, Rob, for being like family and giving me a place that I can come these past 4 years and a half years. Like-minded people help keep me sane and lift my spirits when I was really down or overwhelmed. Again, thank you all. John Allen. Thank you, John. That's the power of community. That's the power of connection. And we build that It's an interesting thing that's happening here, and I know I've brought this up before, but this is much more than just a live stream or some news show, right? We're building a community, we're building a culture, we're building relationships that are happening, and it's a beautiful thing. I'm really honored to be a part of it, John. I'm glad that you're here with us and joining us. We're just getting started, baby. America is not going to make itself great again by itself. We got to do it. Christy Katz, I am blessed to have found Rob and all of you. Christy, 4 months as a member. I sure hope I can attend a Watchers convention. Love you all. Definitely, Christy Katz. We've been iterating on some ideas about that. I got some preliminary DC numbers, some preliminary DC inauguration numbers. It's expensive. It's great. It's about what I thought, but I'm like, wow, that's about what I thought. That's on the upper end of what I thought, but it's a lot. So we're still kicking it around. And the more I'm learning about it, the less appetizing it seems to be because of a bunch of things. But we're going to keep exploring and keep kicking the idea around. But definitely, if not at inauguration, then some other time for sure. Good to see you, Christy Katz. Hey, great grandma Anon. Hey, Rob, it's been 1 year, 1 month, and 11 days. Make a wish. It's a beautiful sequence there. 1111. Great grandma Anon. Thank you, great grandma, for being here so long, for hanging with us, and for hanging with us for all those months, years, and days. Great grandma Anon. Here's to many more. Cheers to you. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for the comment. And B Job Secure says, have a safe holiday weekend, Robert and fam. Same to you, B Job. B Job Secure. Have a safe holiday weekend. Have a happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. Thanks for the dono and being on Rumble. John McGarvey says, thoughtful comment here. Wow, John. First of all, thanks for sharing that with us here today. I know that's a hard thing to share, but it's going to be very impactful for the people there who needed to hear it. Incredible. Amazing. Thank you, John. Profound. All right. And so, my friends, thank you for those tremendous comments and the fun and the friendship. Let's see what's happening on X before we wrap it up and go over to locals for our members only after party, which will be happening in just a few minutes. We'll debrief over there. We'll hang out a bit and then we'll call it a night. George is here. Dapper Dan is on X. James Pepper says, hey, happy Thanksgiving. I remember watching this live, and says X is the media. Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, X is the media, baby. Hey, thanks for taking a screenshot of that. That's a fun screenshot. X is the media. You better believe it. Hey, Dapper Dan says, I wish you the best happy Thanksgiving, Rob. Thanks for all you do. Thank you, Dapper Dan, for saying that and for being on X. Ronald Martin. What's up, Ronald Martin? Sharing the link. We got George says, I quit watching Fox when they denied election interference. The only Fox I ever watch is on your show. So thanks for making sure I get the most important stuff. But support by liking and sharing Watching the Watchers. Yeah, we play a lot of clips. And I've heard that from people. Like, I don't even have to watch that crap anymore because you just show me the best stuff. I'm like, yeah, there was a lot of garbage and filler on there. So it's good. I'm glad we get to go through it together. It saves us all some time. All right, my friends. So once again, thank you for sending those donos in. Thanks for being here, for joining us on these live streams, and for being amazing people. We will pause right there on the day tomorrow. We'll be back in the morning. We'll come by. We'll say our hellos. We'll celebrate a little bit of Thanksgiving together, and then we will call it a day there. And so, my friends, I want to thank our amazing mods and our meme smiths. Thank you, K-Bean. Thank you, Donut. Thank you, John McGarvey, for clipping away for us. Thank you, my friends, for the amazing donos. I'm very grateful and thankful for all of you and for the opportunity to spend time together and to go through this wild and crazy life together. We're going to pause there on the evening. Head on over to locals. We'd love to see you there. But if not, we're coming back here tomorrow, baby. It's going to be Thanksgiving, and we're going to get into it again. And in order to do that appropriately, we're going to need to see you right back here so that together, with your help, we can shine that big, beautiful spotlight of accountability and transparency down upon our system with the hope of finding justice. Make it a beautiful night, my friends. Happy Thanksgiving Eve. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. Bye-bye.